Hello and good evening, and welcome to the Third Rail Podcast, where we talk about anything and everything O-scale model trains. I'm your host, Mark, and with me I have, whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first. I'm Caleb from Caleb Easter's Trains on YouTube, and on Instagram it's Caleb_Easter. Model the Southern Railroad in the 1950s, and I do it on a 4x8 layout. So nice to meet everybody.
Nice.
I'll go next.
All right.
Or you want to go next, Mike?
Sure. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm from the Kisco Falls Railroad. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram under the same. I model O-gauge on a 9x4 layout, and I model everything from the steam era Pennsylvania up to modern trains and freight and Amtrak.
Awesome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Larkin. I am best known for Trains of Lark on Instagram, YouTube. Hold on a second. Sorry, I had a freight train interrupt me, but no, I'm Trains of Lark on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. I'm primarily O-gauge, but I'm also best known for my O-gauge comedy.
This is Corey. I'm known as Corey T 1976 on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. I model a lot of subway trains. Those are my favorite, but I model anything that I like, from steam engines to diesel. I like it all. If I see it and I like it, I buy it.
All right, and I'm Mark. I mainly model the Wabash, which goes past my school, and the Chicago Northwestern, which the line was long gone way after me and my parents moved there in 2002, but, you know, it's a rail trail now, so I grew up on that. But yeah, this is going to be the group for the next 4 or 5 episodes, and I hope everybody listening enjoys the episodes. Yeah. So, let's start out. Who we are, what do we model? Guys, what got you into the hobby?
Well, for me at least, I always have been into trains. My great-grandfather was a roundhouse engineer for the Illinois Central and the St. Louis San Francisco. My great-uncle was a conductor for Chicago and Eastern Illinois and the Wabash. My dad was a big American Flyer guy as a kid, and then he got an HO. So I already was destined to go into trains before I came along. Then I grew up with Thomas the Tank Engine, and then I grew up at the I Love Toy Trains. So I was an HO for most of my childhood, and then when I was in junior high, I got my first Lionel set. It was a Wisconsin Central 442, and then since then I've grown my collection to where I have just under 50 locomotives, and I have my own train barn.
Sweet.
So growing up, at 3 years old, I got my first train set from my grandfather, and then what he would do is, after I fell in love with trains, he'd take me down to the North Carolina Transportation Museum all the time. And that's where I ended up falling in love with the Southern Railroad and everything about it. And especially one iconic locomotive, number 542. And still to this day, yeah, I act like it's the best thing in the world. But yeah, I ended up dabbling with some different scales. I had G scale as a Christmas train from Sam's Club, if you guys remember when they used to sell those. That was my first actual train set, and then I got some HO train sets, and then for about 10 years, I did some HO scale modeling, and then college hit. And whenever college hit, I ended up having to sell most of my HO scale and just kind of focus on my schooling. But I decided to go ahead and get back into the hobby, and when I got back into the hobby, I went with the O-scale route because I've always wanted to do it. It may be a little more expensive, and my wallet may be hurting a little more, but yeah, that's what got me into model railroading.
Awesome.
So this is Mike, and my dad got me into trains. So my dad is a boomer. He was born in 1946, and he grew up in Yonkers, New York, which is right along the Hudson line of the New York Central. So he grew up watching F3s and Hudsons and Niagaras going up and down the river right there. And his fascination with trains was all through his childhood. He had American Flyer and Lionel trains growing up. And then when I was 8 years old, I got my first train set for Christmas. My dad, aka Santa, bought me a Lionel ready to run set. It was an old school General with a couple of freight cars, and I was hooked. Like that was it. Like this is it. This is my life from now on. So both my brothers got trains around the same age. Neither one had any interest. So it's something that me and my dad share, which was really cool. And then I had trains up until through high school and early college, and then around 2002, after I finished up college, I kind of moved out. Got on with life. The trains got packed up and went away. And then life went on. Got grown up, married, had kids, and then we moved to the house we're in now in 2018. I had the opportunity in the space to rebuild the layout, and that's when I kind of started it was actually 5 years ago on Monday. I started President's Day weekend because at a long weekend, I went to Home Depot, got some lumber. It was President's Day weekend in 2019 when I started building the layout. So, and then it's just grown from there. And then social media, which just incredible where it's taken it and where I've gotten ideas and education about trains and haven't been out of it for so long, and all the things I learned from all the different people, it's been tremendous. So, and that's where I am now.
That's great.
Okay. I grew up in Brooklyn, so that's why I know so much, and I really like the subway trains because I grew up riding them as a kid and as an adult. And I've always been interested in modeling subway trains, but I didn't get into it until about 2021. My mom's fiance and I used to always talk about buying trains and starting a layout. And unfortunately, he passed away before we got a chance to do it. So I inherited some trains from him that he had bought that I didn't even know about. So that's what started me with my O gauge journey. And from there, I just kept buying and buying. And I started out on the floor in my one bedroom apartment in the living room. And my girlfriend told me one day, why don't you put your couch on risers so you can expand? So that's what I did. I put the couch on risers and I had the train running underneath the couch. And then we bought a house. So now I have the room that I'm in now with the 10 by 10 layout that I'm working on now.
That's awesome. Where did I start? So I started in G gauge when me and my parents moved into our house in 2002. I think it was around that time. My grandparents gave me one of those like Bachmann big haulers for Christmas, and that just kind of went around the tree. But I don't think it really started until I got the Lionel Polar Express set in 2004. I have the original set from when the movie first came out. Still runs to this day. Passenger cars need a little work, but it does its job. But yeah, my dad came home with it one day. My dad's a personal trainer, and one of his clients worked for Pepsi, and Pepsi was a sponsor for the film. So his client was able to get a few of these train sets, and he gave one to my dad, because knowing he had a 3 or 4 year old son at the time. And then, yeah, my dad came home with it, and then the rest is pretty much history. But yeah, I can still remember just being a kid with the lights off in the house and running around the foldable tables that we had to put up, that we put the track on, and lights were off, and the passenger cars were lit up, and I would just run around the table. It's just one of those things that just really brings back all the memories. And then, yeah, now I'm buying really expensive model trains. So yeah, I'll open up the conversation, and then, yeah.
Oh yeah, that Sam's Club train set I was telling you about, it is one of those big hauler sets. It was like the North Star Express or something that I had.
Yep,
it came with the.
I have that one too.
It is that one? Okay. Did it come with like the 460 and the passenger cars and stuff?
Well, so mine was like it was like a little 040, and it was like a mining set, but I also did get the North Star set from my grandparents' neighbor, I think. So I had 2 G-scale sets.
Yeah,
I didn't know that they had those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one of those too. I had the yellow Rio Grande Bachman big hauler under the Christmas tree for a while. That was so. I think everybody's had one of those at one point.
I mean,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, G-Scale's a good way to, or G-Scale's a good like Christmas train to just throw around the tree. Like the Bachman stuff
Mhm.
is really durable. So
But just so you know, sitting under the Christmas tree with the lights is something that never gets old. I mean,
oh no,
this
no.
Christmas that just passed. But what makes it great is that not only do I do it, but I do it with my son now. Now he enjoys it, and he's running the Polar Express, and he's sitting there looking up at the tree and the lights, and so it's something that my dad did when he was a kid with his American Flyer set. It's something I did as a kid. Now I'm something that my kid is doing. So it's an amazing thing to see. The progression of generations and how there's more sounds and lights, but really it's just looking at the Christmas lights and watching the thing go around the tree is just mesmerizing.
Yeah, and again, like it's just really cool to see like, 3 different generations doing the same thing. Like that's what brings out the memories.
Yep. Yep. And we went to my parents' house over Christmas, and my son was running my dad's Polar Express set. He has the American Flyer S gauge set under his Christmas tree, and we were playing with that. And my son was like, he's like, grab my phone. He's like, oh wait, here, give me your phone. He opens up the Lion Chief app, doesn't even ask, and he knows how to do it. Connects the train, and off he goes.
Oh wow,
It's really cool to see.
that's a good set too. They really killed it with that S gauge one.
Yeah, my dad's a big HO guy, and he had the HO set. It's like it's too small, but I don't want the big O gauge. It's too big for the space I have. So when the S gauge finally came back in stock, he got one. He's like, this is perfect, and he loves it because he grew up with American Flyer as a kid. That was his, that was the stuff he had, and he's like, I just love this. This is fantastic. And of course, he razzes me too. He's like, my train only has 2 tracks. Yours has 3. Yours isn't real.
Oh, you're a third railer.
Yeah, I got that weird center rail.
That is a common joke at the whenever I go to Thomasville, Mike's Trains in Thomasville, my favorite hobby shop. There's a joke between the train store owners. So Jackie and Mike, they do O scale, but then Jackie's husband does HO scale. So they're always like play arguing about it, and it's really funny. And I'm like, well, I joined the right scale.
Yeah. My dad's like, well, I have 5 trains on my layout. I'm like, yes, well, my train can make your chest shake when I blow the horn. So there you go.
That's a good one.
One of the group chats that I'm in, one of the HO guys in the group was like, yeah, O scale's not real scale. And then that just led to a whole argument. It's like,
Yeah, and how long did it take them to actually get the decent sound quality? What? The same stuff that O Gauge had been doing for well over a decade before they finally started getting into the sound?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget the haunting sounds of Broadway Limited QSI sound.
Oh, I hated that. I had a pair of, gosh, it was right before I kind of dismantled the layout and kind of wrapped up college. It was an MTH. I think they were F3s or F7s PS1s.
Oh,
God, I hate it. Man, I hated those things. I hated that. I love the sound, but gosh dang, that's 3 clanks every 10 minutes. I got to reset it again. Like, what did I do? What button did I hit wrong? Drove me crazy. I couldn't take it. And I sold those pretty quick. I was like, this is stupid.
Oh yeah, my old boss had actually bought a Proto Sound 1280 set and wanted me to test it for her before she gave it to her husband. I put that thing on the layout. My eardrums were ringing, and there was no way to turn down the volume.
Yeah, they were loud and they had great sounds, but man, those 3 clanks of death, man. It wouldn't move, and you had to reset it. And if you didn't do the button combination right, drove me crazy. And then the batteries, it was such a pain. It was the right idea. They were definitely ahead of Lionel at the time, but it was very, very clunky. It was certainly not perfected.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Not coincidence that MTH dumped them after 2000.
No, yeah, no, it was, and then they came out with the Proto Sound, which was mind blowing at the time. I think Proto Sound at the time gave TMC a run for its money, but I don't want to get too far into sound systems, but I think Legacy has edged out PS3 just a smidge.
I can definitely agree with that.
The thing that makes Legacy stand out is that the features are way better than anything on the Proto Sound. Because the way that I interpret it, MTH locomotives look better, whereas Lionel's run better, play better, and sound better.
Being somebody that owns both, I will say that, and especially with my two high hoods, I love my green Southern GP7, but my SD24s that are Proto Sound 3, the amount of detail they shoved on those things, and the door, but all the doors open on it, which is insane. And they're not like sprung, so they don't look bad, but like they're metal and they actually have hinges that open, which is insane, you know. So I will say MTH, they do put a lot into detail. But Lionel, the sound system, is just so much clearer, so much better. The horns and the whistles, they have this bass to them, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. And I absolutely applaud Lionel for keeping almost the entire tooling, the stuff that they bought from MTH, specifically like the Russian Decapod. I absolutely applaud them for keeping all the extensive details still on there, like the chains and all the little stuff that you normally wouldn't see on Lionel stuff. I appreciate Lionel continuing that on. And now, like with the 1630, and Mark, you could probably understand where I'm about to go with this. You get now with the model like that, you get the details benefits of MTH because it technically is an ex-MTH engine,
Yep.
but you get all the sound benefits of the Lionel, and the fact that they threw in 1630's correct bell and whistle on it made it even better.
I will say, because of the size of the engine, you know, they weren't able to put in like the normal size speakers that they're able to put in all the other stuff, but like hearing 1630's whistle on that model just makes me so happy. It just makes me so happy that they went the extra mile to go to IRM and record everything. And supposedly,
Yeah, they do.
yeah,
Lionel has made that effort a lot recently, and the five whistle choices I think is really cool. Like, yes, you can program your PS3 and you can do sound files and all that complicated stuff, but you know what? For out of the box having 5 choices for easy use is I think a really neat concept that they came up with. That are they perfect? No. Is it customizable? But you know what? You got choices. It's not, you're not stuck with one thing. You have an opportunity to mix it up. So even if you have 2 engines of the same type, or 2 engines, if you have two identical engines but different road names, you could put different horns on them. They don't sound the same, which is, I think, a really neat concept they came up with.
Not to mention too that if you notice with a lot of the newer stuff, specifically in the steamers, each new whistle that they put in is actually the correct one or better than the other one. So not only do you have the customizable whistles, but the ones that they're starting to add in are their real life counterparts or sound fantastic. Like it's like not only are they doing the customizable, but they're upgrading the quality of the whistles too.
I will say, I think the only engine where that doesn't really apply is probably the Atlantics that they did like 2 years ago now. Because I have the Wabash one, and that thing does not have a Wabash whistle on it, unfortunately. I know 765 wore one on one of its trips to St. Louis in 2012, I want to say.
September 2012, I rail fanned that event.
Man, if I could go back and, shoot that train going past my school, that would just be amazing. And a while back, after one of the days I was firing at Monticello, in our chief mechanical officer's office, there was a picture of 765 running past the Millikan University sign, and that's a shot that I've always wanted to get, and I finally got to see a picture of a shot that I wanted to get. Even though it wasn't mine, it was still really cool to see.
I'll tell you what, Mark, if they make Southern 401 and O-Gauge, you and I are in a lot of trouble.
Oh,
you can't forget.
Oh, I'm doing a whole Monticello set if that's the case.
Yeah. So for context for anyone listening, and same for you guys, so even though I call Florida home, Mark and I actually grew up not too far from each other. So
Yep.
I was born in Danville, Illinois, and Mark, you're outside of Decatur, if I recall correctly.
My hometown is in the suburbs of Chicago, so I'm from this town called Algonquin. It's just like 45 minutes to an hour outside of the city.
So you have the opportunity now to see the Canadian Pacific 2816 when it comes through, right? Because it's going to come through Illinois.
Yep.
On its way down. Are you going to be able to catch that?
I don't know, because the closest spot I'd be able to see it is Davenport, Iowa, and the day that it's stopping in there is the last day of like classes before finals. So yeah, it's possible I could go see it, but I don't know. It all depends on.
It looks like, the work they've done. It looks tremendous. What CPKC has done to restore it, and it looks amazing. That's going to be a sight to see.
And it has 4449's aux tender as well, even though it's painted in CP colors right now.
It'd be really cool if 2016 and 4014 deliberately ran into each other. And by running into each other, I don't mean like crash. I mean like be in the same city or being next to each other.
Come on, Gomez.
You scared me with a minute when you said run into each other.
Because if they crashed into each other, you'd be going running with the Elmer's glue to put them back together. So.
Oh, come on! Not on the podcast, Mike.
I was waiting for an opportunity to bring it up, and you just gave me a layup, so I appreciate it. Thanks.
You want to explain to Mark why we joke about glue?
So we did a live stream on Instagram. Myself, Lark, and I think it was his name just floated in my head.
It was Trey and Preston.
Preston and somehow we were talking about scenery, and that's what it was. You had broken that Chesapeake and Ohio.
Oh God!
Was it the Mallet? Was that what it was?
It was my Santa Fe Y3. So basically,
it was the Y3, and you tried to glue it with Elmer's glue to fix it, and you gummed it all up. So we gave him the business about how his new scenery was going to be basically green construction paper with Elmer's glue and green painted macaroni for bushes, because it turned into a middle school, elementary school project with all that Elmer's glue. What were you thinking?
Yeah. No, basically what happened was I had a little gear that got loose, and me being the try to fix it all, I tried putting glue back on it, and unfortunately I did it straight out of the bottle instead of like using like a toothpick or something to put it on there, and some of it actually ended up getting onto the wheels themselves, and it basically locked up the engine.
Oh, you're okay. It's just makeshift. What is the name of that product? The Bullfrog Snot or whatever?
Yeah.
The traction tires. I ruined, back when I did HO scale, I actually ruined a 284 MTH Berkshire, like one of the original runs. You could not find traction tires for those, and I put that Bullfrog Snot on it. It ruined that whole locomotive. It would not get electrical contact.
I think.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about that now.
Yep, that is true. The only thing HO that I still have is that Polar Express set. And it still don't run.
Did you guys see the video of, I can't remember his name, but he made a whole video, like a whole review of that Lionel HO Christmas set that they did? And
is he the guy that smashed it?
Yep. And sawed one of the cars by using... Yeah.
Yeah, I know what video you're talking about. That video is fantastic.
Well, wait, he did a review of it and then he smashed it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to look that one up.
He sawed one of the cars in half too.
Well, how did he line up the shot? It was fantastic. He said something about the hopper car being garbage, and it cut to a shot of his foot just smashing that thing.
Didn't he do something else as well besides stomping on it?
Oh,
Yeah.
he broke the track. I remember that.
He set one of the cars on fire too.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I think Lionel has some potential in HO, but it's just they've still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, they want to
Imagine if
put...
they put legacy.
Well, I think there's two things, right? I think one thing is that they don't have enough tooling. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if they're willing. I'm not sure if they're willing to invest. So they're just cookie cuttering Berkshires into stuff. And I'm not sure that they can break the market because HO is so big, and Bachman and Walters and Ahern and Atlas have such a grip on it to try and compete with them. I think where they are is where they're going to stay. Starter sets, get people introduced, get them coming back to the hobby shop. I think that's really. I don't know if they can really expand beyond that, unless they're willing to spend a ton of money again to develop sounds and tooling and to go into individual sales. Because you look at what they offer in HO, it's basically cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's repaints and reprints of what they're already producing.
It's basically
yeah.
like what Tyco was doing in the 80s, but like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Tyco was, in my opinion, Tyco was offering more just because they had train sets that came with like extra accessories to make things more playable.
They pretty much were the HO equivalent of American Flyer and Lionel when you think about the way
Yeah.
that their accessories ran.
Oh yeah.
And some of their accessories were ahead of their time. I mean, they were among the first ones to successfully create a railroad crossing flash gear that actually alternated perfectly.
Yeah. The one thing that Lionel has that the other HO manufacturers don't really do is making a full, complete starter set with sound. You don't really find that in HO. There's only like one or two top tier that come with DCC and sound. So this is DCC equipped. Their HO stuff. So my dad did have the HO one. He ran on his layout and he was able to play around with it. Or you can use the Lion Chief app or the remote it comes with. But for their price point, it's one of the very few manufacturers that comes HO with sound out of the box for a full set with track and power. There's only like, I think Bachman makes one and Walters makes one starter set with sound, and that's it. Those are your only choices.
Yeah.
And you got 4 or 5 choices from Lionel. So I think that's their edge, but I think that's all they really got.
I think what Lionel needs to do as well is improve the track in the HO sets because it seems like it is just straight garbage. And it's funny because they also advertise rail joiners for HO, but they don't throw them in with the sets. I think if they threw them in with the sets or even just put them on the track, like when they're being manufactured, I think a lot of people would be a lot more happy with what they're getting.
That's exactly why I can't run my Polar Express set. The like 3 of the curves, the rails are coming up because they don't have rail joiners, and it's a good concept. Like the way that they concepted the idea of having magnetic track, they just didn't execute it properly.
Yeah.
Is a good way to look at it. But yeah, that track is garbage. It does not work.
And like even
I think it came like that. It was broken when I opened it the first time.
and like
Mike, you made an interesting point earlier on the fact about the sound part. I mean, today, we take it for granted that all starter sets now have sound, but yet you look at HO and N scale, that's still not a thing.
Not in starter sets, no. Because
No.
I got one. Because I went and got one for my son when he was, I don't know, I guess he was before COVID, so I guess he was like 8, 9. He wanted a train set in his room. I'm like, well, how about an HO? Because that'll fit. He had a bunk bed. We took out the bottom bunk. We put a little table in there. I was like, I can fit an HO in there. He goes, okay. So we tried that. And I wanted to get in something with sound because he's like, I like yours that makes sound. So I went looking for it. And I scoured the internet and I came up every retailer. There were 2. There was a Bachman set that came with like a Santa Fe F3. And then there was actually they're both Bachman. And there was one Bachman steam train. It was like a cheap little 06. It was a 260.
Yeah,
a 260 with a couple of freight cars. And that was it. Those are the only choices you had. There was nothing else on the market that I can find in HO that had sound and a starter set with track and stuff because I needed the track to get them started. So, and the Bachman Easy Track is pretty good because it does actually have joiners and clips, so it holds together pretty well. But yeah, those are the only 2 that were out there. I mean, I looked for months and there's nothing out there in the starter space. So, you can get a starter set and then go buy it and then just go with the cars and the track, but that seems, kind of silly. But, most of their HO stuff is, some of it's DCC ready, but nothing comes with sound beyond those 2 sets that I could find.
Is that what
Yeah,
Cato does for N scale? I can't remember. Do they make theirs DCC ready or
Who's that?
Kato? Is it Kato or Kato?
Oh,
I
I don't
think
know
it,
actually.
I think it's Kato. I could be
Kato.
wrong.
I've heard both. I usually go with Kato.
Mhm.
I can't remember if they put DCC ready N scale locomotives or if they do DC only with their starter sets.
I don't know. I was looking at the Bachmann announced, or they just released, or was it just released, or it was maybe just came into market. I think they finally delivered. Was their HO Acela sets, and it's like $400, which is a lot cheaper than the O scale, but there's no sound. It is DCC ready, but and that's supposed to be like a premium starter set, and it doesn't have a DCC commander base. It's just a regular DC remote, and there's no sound in it, and you're still paying $400. So yeah, HO doesn't give you that opportunity to get that out of the box.
I'll just stay with my old scale.
There you go.
Yep.
Oh, there is one more DCC ready Bachmann set I forgot about. It's a 280 Western Maryland set.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's when they did all their Spectrum stuff still.
Well, and we kind of give Lionel a hard time of how expensive some of their starter sets are, but when you compare it to what HO has, there's a lot more stuff that comes with the Lionel starter set, especially when it comes to the sound, that HOers wish that they could get right out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Especially when MTH did the starter sets, they were shoving Proto Sound 2 and 3, which is what you get in their premier models. Like they were jumping you out the gate with the best stuff.
And you were getting speed control, which is something that you don't really get in like Lionel starter sets, which is just great because like I don't know, I'm not really a fan of like throwing your train on the track and just having like 3 speed levels,
Oh, yeah.
The Lion Chief the speed levels are pretty decent. Some are better than others, I'll say, for sure. The F3s are probably their best ones they make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Generals are probably the worst that they make in terms of speed moderation.
That's how my 080 is. It kind of jumps when you get it started, but when you've actually got it started, the speed steps are better. It's just getting it started has always been the struggle with starter sets, but they kind of jerk a little bit at the beginning, but way smoother than anything DC ever.
Oh gosh, yeah. But now going back to the MTH stuff, I mean MTH guys were spoiled with their sets because you had the sound, you had fan driven smoke if it was a steamer, and it came DCS equipped right out of the gate. So if you were a child that got it and your dad was into it, you can play with it under the tree and then go play with it at your dad or your grandpa's layout and play on the DCS remote and feel like as if, hey, you can connect right away, and then you didn't have to do anything else. Right. And then the sounds, were unbelievably fantastic. If you listen to it, like, oh my gosh, that's 1630's bell. Oh my gosh, that whistle sounds amazing. It sounds just like the real thing.
Oh yeah.
But MTH is guilty like Lionel too. They would repeat the whistle and the horns and a lot of stuff too. They would use the same sound file for like everything. Even some nicer Premiere stuff would have that same steam whistle and baked in.
You can't get the little Pennsylvania 080 hooter whistle out your head, can you?
No. It was in the turbine too. That was the big one there. Their S2 turbine. That whistle that was in there was in everything. But to your point though about the MTH, and I think where Lionel overtook MTH is that you could go run it on your dad or grandpa's layout, but they had to have a DCS system to run it. You had to have the base. You had to have the controller. You had to have all this stuff. Well, I think where Lionel jumped them a little bit is the introduction of Lion Chief, whereas all you need is AC power. You drop it on a track, you open up your app, and off you go. There's no additional equipment required. Anybody can run it anywhere in any 3-rail system. I think that was a real stroke of genius by Lionel. And I think when the new app comes out, the new enhanced Lion Chief app that gives you the opportunity to control 3 engines with a couple of more features. And you actually have the ability to, independently control the different sounds and the master sounds, set speed. It's pretty. I think it changes the game that allows anybody to buy anything Lionel and run it anywhere, wherever you want, whenever you want. All you need is your phone in your pocket and your engine, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was just gonna say too. I mean, one other advantage that I don't think anybody's really thought of: if you've got more than one Lion Chief engine on your layout, and you've got the remotes that go with it, you have friends come over, and suddenly you have railroad operation, and you don't have to have like TMCC. All you need to do is turn on the transformer. One can run the Lion Chief engine on the main line. The other one can be working in the yard, getting freight trains or shunting stuff.
Yeah, that's what.
And that's something you really can't see with anyone else. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. That's what me and my one friend did with the layout at Monticello. Is, I used to have the Lion Chief Plus CB&Q GP7. Then I eventually sold it. And then I also had my Wabash Lionel Legacy GP9, which was one of the first to have Bluetooth in it, I think, because the engine's from 2018. So yeah, I think it might be one of the first few engines to have Bluetooth in it. And it was great because the way that the layout was set up, you just had one big main line, and then on the inside, the main line was basically a dog bone, and then on the inside of the dog bone, you had a yard. So I was running the main line, and my friend was in the yard, switching stuff around. And then, we would kind of switch off back and forth. He would get a train ready for me, and then I would take my Jeep into the yard and take it out, and he would take my passenger stuff and switch it out. So, yeah, the Bluetooth stuff is honestly a good step in the right direction, and I would like to see Lionel improve on it and, work on it more, because I think that's only the start. I think the sky's the limit with Bluetooth. Just maybe give us another, maybe at some point give us a Cab 3 remote, please. Pretty please.
I would even be...
Look at Blue Nami, for crying out loud. Blue Nami's already, taking the stand with what you can do with just a phone.
Yeah.
Without having to have the control system.
Yeah. So like even for Lion Chief, I'd even pay to have an upgrade into the app, right? Like you can get the app for free, and I'd pay 15, 20, even I'd probably even pay $30 if I got like TMCC 1 level controls. Not legacy, but if I got like, if I could activate this, if I can get buttons 1 through 7 and get some of the sounds, I'd pay for that just to have it in an app, and not even have to have the full system, just to get like some basic TMCC function on it, so I can get some of the extra sounds. I'd totally pay for that, and it's something they could easily do. Is have a tiered app system like anything else. Here's your basic. You want to buy, unlock the other features, pay us $30, and that's a moneymaker for them. Once you develop it, it's just people. That's just cash and coming in. That's just cash coming in the door.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Keep the base 3 for people who want to connect like the
exactly
the stuff.
Because I have two lines. I can run 2 engines at once. I'm like, I don't need to go and buy a $500 base 3 to run 2 engines. I don't have switches. I don't have the other stuff. But I like to have some of the extra features. I like to have, especially, the blow down, the fill the water, coal, and the secondary was a function 7 when you kind of get the new cab chatter. Like that's it. That's the only other kind of extra sounds I want. And
I would love the quilling
I'd pay for that.
Yes, the quilling whistle.
Yeah, you can do it. It's gonna have it on the Cab 3 app, so put it on the other one. I'll pay for that. Just throw it in. Like I said, I'd pay a couple bucks for it for sure.
In my opinion, that is hands down the best feature when it comes to Legacy. To be able to not only blow the whistle, but to be able to change the tone of it from a soft whistle to like a full power whistle. You cannot beat that.
Oh yeah, and they did it better than MTH did. Like, sorry, MTH people, but they did.
Yeah,
they blew it out the first time they ever did it, especially with early models like the Milwaukee Road 261 and stuff with that whistle. Oh man, I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys have heard that one that they did.
No.
It's one of the OG whistles.
And
But
I think
I
that
wish-
one had the horn too, like the real one did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I wish Lionel had the Doppler because that's pretty cool. I'd like to have the Doppler in my diesels, but not the end of the world. But that's a neat feature that MTH has.
oh yeah, and the Doppler effect, it is interesting. I've used it before. The only thing about it is like you don't know where it's going to happen whenever you hit it, like where
Oh,
the
so it's
change is going to be.
it's
Like
not on it's not on command.
It you might be able to see. I've only got the DCS Explorer, so I can hit Doppler, and then like it goes ahead and it automatically does the Doppler effect.
So I've used DCS and I can speak on how that works. So basically, you hit the Doppler effect and it basically does it in a timely manner. So you hit the button and then it starts the Doppler sounds right then and there. Like it's high pitch, and then it just sounds like it thunders by you, even if it's on the other side of the layout. So
Yes.
it's not quite as good as I would have hoped it to be, but it's kind of hard to perfect something like that. But it is cool. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Like it just goes straight into it.
I'm glad you explained it because I got DCS and I've never really used the Doppler, so I have no idea how it works.
Yeah.
Now, there is one feature that the DCS stuff has that I wish Lionel would be able to do, and that's being able to speak into the remote to be able to speak out of the locomotive, to where you can basically make your own crew talk, as opposed to the cheesy crew talk that the PS2, PS3, and a lot of the Lionel stuff.
Yeah, the
So-
Protocast is cool.
So what's interesting is that the Lion Chief stuff has that, the entry level stuff, but not the more advanced Legacy or Lion Chief Plus 2.0. So they have the voice stream in like the entry level Lion Chief starter sets. So it might be a draw to try and people to get to buy that, but like why is that feature not in the premier models?
That is weird, isn't it? And I had no idea you could do it with MTH models. To be honest, I knew you could do custom sound sets, but I didn't know you could do that just as easy as that. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, I think
You
Well,
also
it's
can plug something into your TIU, and you can play like music or whatever through the train if you plug it into the TIU.
Huh?
I've done that before.
Wow.
Oh, what music did you put on it? Now you have me curious.
Some rap music, Biggie Smalls.
Nice.
Very Brooklyn.
Well, that's a very expensive Bluetooth speaker. We'll put it that way.
yeah.
So a buddy of mine actually has the Lionel Bluetooth radio station on his layout, and he will play like, so he's a big Santa Fe guy, and he's got Santa Fe stuff. So what he'll do sometimes is he'll run his stuff and he'll do videos of Santa Fe engines and Bluetooth it through the speaker on the layout, so it sounds like there's a real train on the layout. He'll play a YouTube video and connect it. And he says it's so awesome. You got all these sounds. You got the clickety clack and the thundering, and it blows the whistle. He says it's really cool to have that. He plays with that a lot.
Ooh, I got something to say about something similar to that. Something that I recently discovered. There's another YouTuber. He has a 4x8 layout with a very similar track plan to mine, and he also does the Southern Railroad. And I've talked to him a little bit, and he gave me this idea. An Amazon Alexa. And there's this app in it called Sleep Jar. And basically it's an ambience noise thing. You can layer sounds on it. So you can say play train noises, play town noises, play farm noises, anything you want. And then it layers it so that you can have all those playing at once. And it
That's
adds
cool.
a whole new level of dynamic to the layout.
That's pretty neat.
I think it's like $1.99 a month for the premium one where you can layer as many sounds as you want. I think the free one you can layer like 2 sounds or something. I just paid $2 because it's worth every penny to me. But
That's pretty neat. So do you put it on the layout like under a building or something, or?
yeah, so I've built like I literally slapped a 2x4 underneath my layout and just set it on there.
Now I gotta come over and see how this works. You've given me some ideas.
Oh yeah, and that I think they might still be on sale for like $20. I mean, it was not much for this Alexa, and it's It's basically what Lionel did with that, which I'm gonna still buy one of those sheds that they made that makes the noises. They had the intermodal one and then the steel one and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Basically that, but you can do whatever you want with it. Is
Yeah.
how I did.
Yeah, the Echo Dots are cheap. They're not very expensive.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a great way to add sound to your layout, and that goes for all scales. It don't matter what scale you do if you use an Alexa.
HO needs it more.
Yeah.
Did I say that? Did I say that out loud?
Nothing wrong with speaking the truth, Mike.
It's funny because I've been thinking about getting into HO just a little bit, just enough so I can take something to this club in Springfield and, be in a social environment running trains, because we don't have any O-scale clubs down in Central Illinois. So if there are any people in Central Illinois that do O-scale and you would like to start a club, please feel free to hit me up.
Oh yeah, that's how it is here. There's a lot of HO modelers, but then there's there's O scale modelers, but they don't really have a club, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The nearest one to me is like 3 hours or something, all the way in Raleigh, and I'm like, yeah, that's too far for me.
I feel like that there's like a growing O scale market in the Charlotte area with Lionel being there. I feel like that there's a lot more three-wheelers in Charlotte than there were like 20 years ago, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah, you got Bobby.
I mean, up in Chicago, like, there's the Chicago.
You've got Optimus.
Huh?
Oh yeah, Optimus.
Yep.
Most detailed layout I've ever seen.
He has a really nice Southern Pacific inspired layout. Like, he just does so much with it in such a small space. It just blows my mind.
He went from like his original layout design, and then within a year it blew up to what it is. And I'm like, this dude learned a lot of stuff real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it clicked with him how to model. I mean, it was just the weathering jobs he does too are insane.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, going back to what you were saying, Mark, you've got Optimus there. You've got Matt R., the main Matt of the original Matt and Matt podcast. You've got Jason from Great Northern 2507. So, I mean, there's a decent pipeline in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah. And
although Matt Rochford is a convert, he is departed O and moved to HO.
Oh, yeah.
He sold most of his collection.
Traitor.
He loves the Chicago Metro stuff, and Metro's really only HO, and he really wanted a lot of Metro stuff. So,
I mean, I guess that's fair. It just depends on what you're modeling.
Yeah.
There's better Southern stuff in O scale than there is HO, in my opinion. But
yeah. Well, and even take away the people. I mean, you got the Chicagoland, the massive O scale train club. You've got the Wheaton train shows. You've got Great Train Expo that's up there from time to time. And you've got a decent variety of hobby shops up there.
Yeah, there's America's Best Toy and Hobby, which is where I grew up going. My grandparents live in Elk Grove, so my grandpa would take me there all the time as a kid, and I still go there now. Like, their prices are a bit steep, but we gotta support small businesses.
I'll tell you what, the Walt's Hobby Shop near Plainfield, it was, oh my gosh, every time that I went there, they just had like a massive selection of Lionel stuff. They really liked a lot of the PWC Lionel.
Berwyn's trains in, is it Berwyn's? Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Berwyn's is also a really nice shop. They do a lot of nice custom runs for MTH, and there are some CB&Q War Emergency Hoppers that are calling my name. So I'll have to jump on those when they come in.
Oh yeah, quick random question. Am I the only Southerner in this chat?
I think so.
Or born and raised in the South?
Well, we've got 2 New Yorkers, we've got 2 Chicagoans, and we got a Southern boy in here.
Yeah, I got that Southern twang.
It's endearing. I enjoy it. So the company I work for, our main office is in Charlotte, so I enjoy talking to our friends down there.
Oh yeah, wow! Your main office is close to me.
Yeah, I hear "bless your heart" at least 6 times a day. So
Yep. That.
Well, with that phrase, you the tone that you do it will have a different meaning. Like
oh
if you
yes,
say,
as I've learned.
like if you say like "bless your heart," that's as one person said, that's the most southern way of saying "bleep you."
Well, bless your heart.
Yeah,
No.
I've gotten an education on that for sure.
Oh yeah.
But I may call Florida home now, but I still have a lot of special memories of Illinois. But oh, and speaking of which, contrary to where I live, I think New York pizza is better than Chicago pizza. So Corey,
Oh,
Mike, you're welcome.
that's a hot take.
That's true though.
Although I will say Chicago tavern style pizza, cough cough monocles. Woo, that's the stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy monocles down here, but when I'm home, deep dish all the way, baby.
I'm just happy I got Cheerwine. Y'all don't.
Hey, you've got Bojangles, so and you've got Cookout.
Oh yeah, Bojangles, Cookout, lots of barbecue.
You got
And,
Buc-ee's.
Yeah. They're actually building one about an hour away from me. I'm excited about it.
What's the other one?
Yeah, that's the one gas station you don't go just for gas.
No.
What's the
When
one?
you
Oh, the
walk
other
out,
one.
$100.
Yeah, I've been once out in the Midwest. Quick Trip. It's kind of the same thing, although not at the same scale.
I guess that would be like Wawa up here.
It's kind of like 7-Eleven meets Bass Pro Shop. It's the best way I could describe it.
Okay, that's an interesting mix.
I need to see this now. A 7-Eleven and Bass Pro, that's a Photoshop job I might do later.
Yeah. Well, when you get there, you tell me what you think. But it strikes me as that type of place.
You've been on here for a while, and anyone have any closing thoughts before we say goodbye for the night?
Oh, you guys go ahead.
I appreciate you doing this, Mark. This is really cool, and it's nice to be able to have a different podcast to talk 3-rail train stuff with. And with train show season starting to go underway from now until York, I mean, it's going to be even more exciting.
Yeah, and I think that's actually going to be the topic for our next episode is train shows that we enjoy going to. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I just I appreciate that we have we've started up a new podcast here. You guys are a great group of people. I've talked to you before this podcast and stuff, and I enjoy talking to every single one of y'all. So excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to know you guys more through this podcast. I mean, I've already gotten to know you guys through some of the group chats that we're in, but I feel like this is just going to bring us closer together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's the great part about social media that can actually be social, and it's where you get to do this and actually start to meet people and get out and actually go to visit other layouts and see other, get together and actually see the person behind the logo, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And help each other make bad financial decisions.
Exactly. That's the whole part of it.
Real friends help friends by train.
Yes. But I'm definitely glad we were able to do this. I have been thinking in my head that I want to try to get on somebody's podcast one day. So I guess this is a start. And I'm hoping that, we'll get bigger and better as it goes along because this was fun. I know I didn't participate a lot, but I'll be participating more. I just got to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that.
Time, man.
This is really my first time hosting a podcast. So I'm kind of, this is new for me too.
I think I'm one of the only ones who has experience like having to do this. When I worked at my old company, we had a podcast too about metal carports.
That sounds exciting.
Oh, yeah, the exciting's I guess you could say that's the term for it.
Guess if I'm having trouble sleeping, I'll listen to that one.
Yeah. If you didn't know what Hat Channel was, you'll find out. Yeah, I enjoyed this podcast with y'all tonight. It was great. I can't wait for the upcoming episodes.
And with that, I think I'm going to sign off here for the night. Thank you guys for hosting this episode with me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you, man.
Okay,
All right.
everybody.
See you
Have a
guys.
good night.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. Bye, y'all.